Hello, good afternoon, guys. Welcome to MK Community Brokerage. My name is Mohammed. In this video, we're going to go over Section 5 for the air brakes. Now, if those of you that have been listening to my videos for the other parts that I went through in this section, I'm just going to cover air brakes. I already covered the introduction. I already covered some part of the general knowledge. I already covered patent endorsement. Today, I'm just going to go over air brakes. So basically, it's like a 7 or 8 pages, actually, I'm sorry, 15 pages worth of topics that we're going to cover. So basically, you're going to learn about the parts of an air brake system, what is a dual air brake, inspecting the air brake system, and using the air brakes. The purpose of this is basically for those individuals that are planning to drive vehicles that have air brake system in them. If your vehicle does not have air brake system in them, then there's no need to take the air brake system test. Most commercial vehicles do have air brake system in them, so obviously people do take the test. If it's not related to you, then you should not be able to. You should not be able to be taking this exam for the reason because you don't need it, to be honest with you. If you do need it, then obviously you need to take it. With all due, let's get started. So again, this topic is going to cover all about air brakes. Air brakes are used in all the other vehicles, such as tractor trailers, school buses, like doubles and triples, whatever it is, it's been used. So there's 3 different type of braking system. Just keep that in mind, and it also might be a test question. There's service brakes, there's parking brakes, and emergency brakes. So these 3 are the braking system that you have to know. So the service brakes are you use it to apply to release the brakes when you use the brake and pedal during normal driving. So obviously think of it as driving a car. That's where the service brake is used for. The parking brake, as the name implies, applies when you release the parking brakes when you use the parking brake control. So when you're parking the vehicle. The emergency brake is kind of like our emergency brake in our regular vehicle. With the clutch, you could say, is used in part of the system where your parking brake system you use the parking brake system to stop the vehicle in a brake system failure, just in case if the other 2 stop working, the emergency brakes will work. And obviously we will go more and more on what they are. What is an air compressor? Well, the air compressor pumps air into the air storage tanks, like a reservoir. The air compressor is connected to the engine through gears or a V-belt. The compressor may be air-cooled or may be cooled by the engine cooling system. It may have its own oil supply or be lubricated by engine oil. If the compressor has its own oil supply, check out the oil level before driving. Keep that in mind. Air compressor governor. The governor controls when the air compressor will pump air into the air storage tank. When air tank pressure rises to the cut-out level around 125 pounds per square inch or psi, should they use it in the CDL manual, the governor stops the compressor from pumping air. When the tank pressure falls to the cut-in pressure around 100 psi, the governor allows the compressor to start pumping again. Air storage tanks. Air storage tanks are used to hold compressed air. The number and size of air tanks varies among vehicles. The tank will hold enough air to allow the brakes to be used several times even if the compressor stops working. Air tank drains. Compressed air usually have some water and some compressor oil in it, which is bad for the air braking system. For example, the water can freeze in cold weather and can cause brake failure. The water and oil tend to collect in the bottom of the air tank. Be sure that you drain the air tank completely. Each air tank is equipped with a drain valve in the bottom. There are 2 types. Manually operated by turning a quarter turn or by pulling a cable. You must drain the tank yourself at the end of each day of driving. Automatic. The water and oil are automatically expelled. These tanks may be equipped for manual draining as well. Automatic air tanks are available with electronic heating devices. These help prevent freezing of the automatic drain in cold weather. Alcohol evaporator. Some air braking systems have an alcohol evaporator to put alcohol into the air system. This helps to reduce the risk of ice in air brakes valve and other parts during cold weather. Ice inside the system can make the brake stops working. Check the alcohol container and fill up as necessary every day during cold weather. Daily air tank drainage is still needed to get rid of water and oil, unless the system has automatic drain valves. Safety valve. A safety valve of a relief valve is installed in the first tank the air compressor pumps air to. The safety valve protects the tank and the rest of the system from too much pressure. The valve is usually set to open at 100 psi. If the safety valve releases air, something is wrong. Have the fault fixed by a mechanic. The brake pedal. You put on the brakes by pushing down the brake pedal. is also called the foot valve or treadle valve. Pushing the pedal down harder applies more air pressure. Letting up on brake pedal reduces the air pressure and releases the brakes. Release the brakes, let some compressed air go out of the system so the air pressure in the tanks is reduced. It must be made by the air compressor. Pressing and releasing the pedal unnecessarily can let out faster than the compressor can replace it. If the pressure gets too low, the brakes won't work. When you finish the brake pedal down, two forces push. When you push the brake pedal down, two forces push back against your foot. Once force comes out from the spring, the second force comes from the air pressure going to the brakes. This lets you feel how much air pressure is being applied to the brakes. So basically, they're talking about air brake systems. You're learning about what it is because a lot of vehicles, like I stated before, is based on air braking system. So again, if it goes by, you guys need to take it. Take it. If not, don't take it. The test is not that hard. The material, obviously, you can see it's a little bit harder to understand what's going on. You won't really know what this is until you practically see it, which obviously when you're about to take the road test, you'll be able to physically see it and which you'll understand it right then. This is basically just giving you like a 5%, 10% taste of what air braking system is to give you guys a better understanding so you'll know what the air braking system is. Moving on. Foundation brakes. Foundation brakes are used at each wheel. The most common type is the SKM brake, a drum brake. The parts of the brakes are discussed below. Brake drums, shoes, and lining. Brake drums are located on each end of the vehicle's axles. The vehicles are located to the drums. Obviously, you can see this diagram below. This is part of the S-drum lining. I'm not going to go over every part of the thing. It's going to be a lot of pages, but I'm just going to go over certain parts. The S-current brakes, when you push the brakes pedal, air is let into each brake chamber. Air pressure pushes the rod out, moving the slack adjuster, thus twisting the brake camshafts. This term, the S-cam, so called because it is shaped like the letter S, obviously, as you can see. The S-cam forces brake shoes away from one another and presses them against the inside of the brake drum. When you release the brake pedal, the S-cam rotates back at a spring, pulls the brake shoes away from the drum, letting the wheel roll freely. Wedge brakes is over here as well. Know the difference between S-cam brakes, wedge brakes, and disc brakes. I'll go over a little bit about the disc brakes. It's an air-operated disc system, brake system. Air pressure acts on a brake chamber and slack adjuster like S-cam brakes. When instead of the S-cam, a power screw is used. The pressure of the brake chamber on the slack adjuster turns the power screw. The power screw clamps the disc or rotors between the brake lining pads of a caliper, similar to a large C-clamp. Supply pressure gauge. Know about this. All vehicles with air brakes have a pressure gauge connected to the air tank. If the vehicle has a dual air braking system, there will be a gauge for each half of the system, or a single gauge with two needles. Dual system will be discussed later. Obviously, you'll learn about it later in the chapter. Application pressure gauge. This gauge shows how much air pressures you are applying for the brakes. Just keep that in mind. That's what the pressure of the application pressure gauge is used for. Increasing application pressure to hold the same speed means the brakes are fading. You should slow down and use the lower gear. The need for the increased pressure can also be caused by brakes out of adjustment, air leaks, or mechanical problem. Low air pressure warning. A low air pressure warning signal is required on vehicles with air brakes. A warning signal you can see must come on before the air pressure in the tanks falls below 60 psi. This is something that I will highlight and will remember. Or one-half the compressor governor cutout pressure on older vehicles. The warning is usually a red light. A buzzer may also come on. Another type of warning is a wigback. I will know about this. It might be a test question. This device drops a mechanical arm into your view when the pressure in the system drops below 60 psi. An automatic wigback will rise out of your view when the pressure in the system goes above 60 psi. The manual reset type must be placed in and out of the view position manually. It will not stay in place until the pressure in the system is above 60 psi. On large buses, it is common for the low pressure warning device to signal at 80 to 85 psi. This I also highlight. Stop light switch. Drivers behind you must be warned when you put your brakes on. The air brake system does this with an electronic switch that works by air pressure. The switch turns on the brake lights when you put on the air brakes. I will learn about spring brakes, obviously. All trucks, tractor trailers, and buses must be equipped with emergency brakes and parking brakes. This must be held on by mechanical force because air pressure can eventually leak away. Spring brakes are used to meet those needs when driving. Powerful spring brakes are held by air pressure. If the air pressure is removed, the spring put out on the brakes, a parking brake control in the cab allows the driver to let the air out of the spring brakes. This lets the spring put the brakes on. A leak in the air brake system, which causes all the air to be lost, will cause the spring to put on the brakes. Tractors and straight trucks spring brakes will come fully on the air pressure drops to a range of 20 to 45 psi. I will keep this in mind. Numbers are always important when during the test. Typically 20 to 30 psi. Do not wait for the brakes to come on automatically. When the low air pressure system warning light and buzzers first come on, bring the vehicle on to a safe stop right away while you can control the brakes. Parking brake control, obviously, in your vehicles with air brakes, you put on the parking brakes using a diamond-shaped yellow push-pull control knob. You pull the knob out of the parking brakes, spring brakes, and push it to release them. On older vehicles, the parking brakes may be controlled by a lever. Use the parking brakes whenever you park. Caution: never push the brake pedal down when the spring brakes are on. If you do, the brakes could be damaged by the combined forces of the springs and the air pressure. Many brake systems are designed so this will not happen, but not all systems are set up that way. With those that may not always work. It is much better to develop the habit of not pushing the brake pedal down when the spring brakes are on. So these are the tractor protection valve and emergency trailer brake operation system. Obviously, these are the things, as you can see. It shows you exactly what it is. Let's see. Anti-lock braking system, ABS, is very important to learn. Tractor trailers with air brakes built on or after March 1, 1997, and the other air brakes vehicles, trucks, buses, trailers, and convert dollies built on or after March 1st, 1999, are designed to be equipped with an anti-lock braking system. For those of you that don't know what the anti-lock braking system is, I will give you a small rundown, basically what they're all about talking about. Every vehicle is equipped with an anti-lock braking system. So what it is, let's say for example, if you push on the brakes like hard, right? Like if you're driving 40 miles per hour in a regular vehicle, you push the brakes 40 miles per hour. 40 miles per hour you're speeding. You push the brakes, your car will lock on, but you'll still have to control the car. Your brakes, all four wheels are stopped, but you're able to use your vehicle to go to the left and right. You'll be able to control it. That's where the anti-lock braking system comes into place. Bigger vehicles also have it as well. But keep this in mind, if you do that, some vehicles, like a tractor trailer, may be able to skid as well. The anti-lock braking system is used to prevent those from skidding. Can it prevent it? Yes. Bigger vehicles a little bit harder to be preventable because they are able to be skidding. Because you might be able to control your front, but a tractor trailer might be skidding in the back especially if you have a double and triple. So that's a little bit different from that part. This is the test your knowledge. I don't usually go on this. I'll try my best to give you guys the answer by commenting below, and I'll let you guys know if this is right or not. Answer these questions and put it in the comment section, and I'll try my best to get back to you guys and let you know if it's right or not. This is the dual air brakes. Most heavy-duty vehicles are dual air brake system for safety. A dual air brake system has two separate air braking systems, which use a set of brake control. Each system has its own air tank, hoses, lines, etc. One system typically operates the regular brakes on the rear axles or axles. The other system operates the regular brakes on the front axles and possibly one near axle. Both systems apply air to the trailer if there is one. The system is called the primary system, the other is called the secondary system. So this is the air brake system components and locations, as you can see. It's inside the vehicle. It shows you exactly what it is, how everything is working. Before driving a vehicle with dual air system, allow time for air compressor to build up to a minimum of 100 psi pressure in both the primary and secondary vehicle. I will highlight this. You need to know what they are, the 100 psi. Let me see what else you need to know. The warning light and buzzer should come on before the air pressure drops below 60 psi in either system. If this happens while driving, you should stop right away and safely park the vehicle. If one air system is very low pressure, either the front or the rear brakes will not be operating fully. Keep that in mind. Inspecting air braking system. You should always inspect the air braking system. Obviously, that's one of the things you should do. During the step 2 engine compartment check, Whenever you guys gonna be, that's the thing about the air brake system. Obviously, once you pass the written test, you will also be doing inspections outside of the vehicle as well. Whenever you're gonna take the road test, so whatever I'm explaining to you with the licesne brakes and air braking system and everything, you will have to open up the hood and explain to the instructor that what their every items are, and if they're if they're working, if they're parked on the ground, if, what the difference between if the air pressure system is working, if it's at 100 psi, 60 psi, whatever it is, you need to be going over there and you need to be giving them manually, telling them one by one. Obviously, having they don't want to find out if you have a false sense of security that you're not sure what it is, and that might be able to take certain points away from you. Keep that in mind. So basically, that's the step 5. Whenever you take the road test, they're gonna be a walk around inspection. You're gonna be talking about every single thing. So keep that in mind. Step 7, final air brake check. Do the following checks instead of hydraulic brake check shown in section 2. Step 7, check brake system. Obviously, they want to make sure you'll be able to test the low pressure warning signal, making sure the spring brakes come on automatically. You're checking the rate of air pressure buildup and everything. Just I'm going to go over a little bit. When the engine is at operating RMPs, the pressure should build from 85 to 100 psi within 45 seconds. I will highlight this. In a dual air system, if the vehicle has larger than the minimum air tank, the buildup time can take larger and still be safe. Obviously, keep that in mind. What else? Checking the air compressor governor cut in and cut out pressure. Pumping by the air compressor should start about 100 psi and stop at that 125 psi. Check manufacturer specification. Obviously, test parking brakes. Always usual test parking brakes. Stop the vehicle, put the emergency parking brake on, and gently pull against it in a low gear to test the parking brakes will hold. Testing the service brake. Obviously, wait for normal air pressure. Release the parking brake. Move the vehicle forward slowly, about 5 miles per hour. I will highlight this. And apply the parking brake firmly using the brake pedal. Note any vehicle pulling to one side, unusual feel, and delayed stopping action. This test may show you problems which you otherwise wouldn't know until you needed the brakes on the road. So again, section 5.2 and 5.3, you're going to test your knowledge. These are some of the questions. I really encourage you guys to answer these questions and come back to me so I'm able to help you guys out. Again, last couple of pages. Normal stops, obviously. Braking with anti-lock brakes. Obviously, we went over it, but they were going to go over it again. What the anti-lock braking system is. When you use a trailer, has anti-lock with the trailer, it's less likely to swing out. But if you lose steering control or start a tractor jackknife, let up on the brakes if you can safely do so until you gain control. So this is very important. This is not really a test question, but it might be, but most of the time it's not. I'm going to explain to you what jackknifing is. For those people that are planning to take the tractor trailer test, obviously tractor trailers are larger vehicles, larger than school buses, and obviously the tractor has other smaller containers attached. If you suddenly jam down the brakes, your back of the tractor will start to call it a jackknifing, meaning that they are actually your trailer is straight, but your back of the trailer is actually going to the other directions, like going left and or going to right, depending on where you're going. Even though you're favoring straight, they tell you that if that does happen, let go of the brake. They will automatically come forward. If you're driving forward, they will automatically come towards you and go towards the same direction as going forward. Because if you let go on the brakes, they will automatically retract to the same position as they were. If you don't, then you will be falling, it will be going jackknifing, and actually you will get in an accident. Emergency stops, again, it's kind of like repetitive. If somebody suddenly pulls out in front of you, your natural response is to hit the brakes. This is a good response if there's enough distance to stop and you use the brake correctly. You should brake in a way that will keep your vehicle in a straight line and allow you to turn if it becomes necessary. You can use a controlled braking method of the stab barking method. Controlled braking, obviously, it's like basically you're braking it, but you're basically controlling your brakes. And if you want to go to, if you have to make a left and turn right, you'll be able to do so as well. Stopping distance, obviously keep that in mind. There is a distance to stop. Every vehicle is different. Some people tell you 4 car lengths, some people tell you 5 car lengths. Keep that in mind. But this is a proper method over here. Perception distance plus reaction distance plus brake lag distance plus brake distance, total stopping distance. Do you need to learn this on the test? I don't think so, but it's just giving you an option. And all these percentage. Brake fading or failure. Brakes are designed to break shoes or pads against the brake drums or discs to slow the vehicle. Brake creates heat, but brakes are designed to take a lot of heat. However, brakes can fade or fail from excessive heat caused by using them too much for not relying on the engine braking effectively. Excessive use of the service brake results in overheating and leads to brake fade. Brake fade results from excessive heat causing chemical change in the brake lining. I will actually highlight this and basically learn it. There might be a test question. Which reduce friction and also causes expansion of the brake drums. As an overheated drum expands, the brake shoes or lining have to move forward and contract the drum, and the force to this contact. It's reduced. Continued overuse may increase brake fade until the vehicle cannot be slowed down or stopped. Proper braking techniques. Again, the teaching again how the proper braking techniques is. Low air pressure. Obviously, if the low air pressure warning comes on, stop and safely park your vehicle as soon as possible. There might be an air leak in the system. Control braking is possible only while enough air remains in the air tank. The spring brakes will come on when the air pressure drops in a range of 20 to 45 psi. I will learn this. A heavily loaded vehicle will take a long distance to stop because spring brakes do not work on all axles. Lightly loaded vehicles on slippery road may skid out of control when the spring brake comes on. Let's keep that in mind. Let me see. Never leave your vehicle unattended without applying the parking brakes or choking the vehicles. Your vehicle might roll away and cause injury and damage. Main thing is, make sure if you do park your vehicle, put it on a parking spot. Subsection 5.4, test your knowledge. Why should you be in proper gear before starting down a hill? I mean, this is a test question, and basically we have finished. Make sure you read through it as well, and I'll help you guys answer the questions from here. Okay. With that being said, that's about it. It is a dry chapter, to be honest with you. A lot of stuff that it's like no way for me to explain until I read it to you guys. Keep in mind certain things that I told you to highlight it or read through it. The test is it's not really that hard, but it's also not that easy. So it's in the middle medium section. Read through it again, guys, one more time. Most questions will be put from here. They cannot make up a question. This is the test booklet. This is the air brake chapters. They cannot make up their own questions, so they have to give you questions regarding from here. Obviously, it's all multiple choice questions. It's not true or false. Wait, is it not really? I don't remember if it's true or false. It's all multiple choice question. Keep that in mind. Just make sure you do it as fast as possible. Make sure you have enough time to finish it. Don't rush. Obviously, check out my channel. I have taught how do people take the test. Obviously, controlled breathing. If you don't know the question, skip the question, go to the next one. The questions you don't know, just come back to it in the end and just take a lucky guess. Never leave a question blank. With that being said, thank you again, guys, for watching this video. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any other questions, comment, concern, please comment, like, subscribe. I'll try my best to help you out as much as possible to clarify any confusion you guys have. Thank you again, guys, for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it.